Obama is talking about in the last couple of years, because he's talking about what Troy and I have been talking about, and it's about competition, it's about creating opportunity for our children, and he's there with us, so I'm there with him.
Mitt Romney versus President Obama.
I'll just associate.
I mean, you always say with the Democratic National Convention together, but okay.
Yeah. Well,
I know you're thinking.
As a delegate for the president, I will tell you that I feel very strongly that President Obama, to use his word, will move our country forward in education and in every facet of our society far more than Mitt Romney.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I'd like to do for a minute is let each one of you give us you got to give us a short answer, 30-second solution that you have that you think will help improve the situation in urban schools. 30-second. Start with your Assemblywoman, Bonnie Watson. Just one eye. I know you may have many, but one.
Get rid of the current administration.
Okay. And let's dig down there a little bit deeper, And I think you're talking about the state administration in the state of New Jersey. There's been a lot of controversy about the commissioner, okay? It took him a while to be confirmed, but there's also been a lot about his style. Why don't you share from an insider how you see his style and why you say we need to possibly change?
I think that they would have us believe that we're paranoid and that there is not this desire to privatize and overtake and to change education, not necessarily for the good, but for the profit of others. I think that is, and they would have us to believe that that's not true and that we are delusional. I believe that's the word that was used. But I think the evidence points directly to that. And I think that the citizens of the state of New Jersey and the mothers and the fathers who have vested interest in this need to pay attention to that. And we as a citizenry need to pay attention to the specifics, not what they say, but what they do. Look at the budget.
And by the way, you're talking about your realistic involvement with Commissioner Cerf, am I right? Is that what, because that's really what it is.
I don't think there's a realistic involvement with Cerf on any level, with anybody.
Okay, so anyway, your answer is get rid of the administration. All right.
School construction. Where is the money? Let's build these schools back up in our, urban cities. I think that's a major start. If kids walk into a building and feel good about themselves, they have true labs, they have gymnasiums, they have cafeterias, they're not laying on top of each other, the windows can open, there's air conditioning and warm weather months and heat in the cold months. I think that's a start. So I think find the money and get it done with these schools.
Is there any money around in the state budget right now? Because I understand that they're still building some new schools. The question is where
they're not building them in Patterson.
Not building them in Patterson.
No, not at all. No.
There's money in the bond.
Yes.
Okay, all right. One solution, one idea, improve urban education, urban public schools.
I think communities of color have to come together and restore the private sector, hold their elected officials accountable, hold themselves accountable, because the source of middle-class prosperity in communities of color relies heavily on the public sector. And people say, well, we can go into the private sector. We've never succeeded in the private sector as we have in the public sector. And I think we need to restore the opportunity. Not that we need to get rid of the private sector, but the community is divided on these shiny objects of vouchers, charter schools, and the like.
Kevin Jenkins.
Well, one of the things I would like to see in the next year is Bonnie Watson, Assemblywoman Bonnie Watson, develop an urban task force on education.
Got it.
To really drive down on some of this debate that we're having, so we can really build some positive outcomes and solutions, because I don't want to be sitting here 30 years from now having the same conversation. So we need to really get real with ourselves and grow up. This is not an emotional discussion. This is a real economic discussion. It's a real vision discussion, and it's about our children. It's not about Democrat, Republican, it's not about independent. It's about really drilling down and focus on where we're going in the future so we can have a voice. We don't have a voice right now. And in order to have a voice, we have to have a plan, and we don't have a strategic plan in place at all.
Have you noticed that there is a lack of an urban agenda coming out of either the state, even, it seems like even federal, but we've lost it's not really an urban agenda anymore.
The agenda that we're seeing now is all special interests on one side or the other. It's all confusion. You have a group of people here that's saying they're against this, they're against that, but we're not really talking about what works. And as far as I'm concerned, if we can't get down to that real plan, we're going to be having this discussion again for another 30 years.
We do have an urban agenda when it comes to the national level. When we talk about Medicaid, we talk about health care, we talk about Medicare, we talk about access to opportunities, we talk about building through our public venue as opposed to a privatization of everything. That, you don't have to say urban to know that the urban centers and those who live in it will benefit from that. So the President of the United States definitely has us on his radar.
But I was going to say to you, even in the state of New Jersey, in other places, it seems like there's
State of New Jersey is
certainly
different.
been a lack of a focus that says this is the urban department, the urban, you know, and there used to be a time when that was. And
There will be an amen to that. There's no urban
Okay,
agenda
okay.
in the state of New Jersey other than control and dismantle.
Didn't get your, thank you. Didn't get your response to a solution. Give us a solution, one strong idea to help us in our urban.
I think one of the best things we can do is educate and empower our parents and give them the tools necessary to demand the type of schools that they want to see their children go to. And if we can do that and have that sort of groundswell, that grassroots activity to effectuate change, because that's how we've done change throughout. It hasn't been from the top down. It's always been from the ground up. I sit here today as a 39-year-old African-American legislator because people from far other places than me stood up and made this wave come up from the ground up. And that's what we have to do in education, our urban sector.
Now, speaking about empowering parents, what are the strategies to do that? I mean, where is that happening? What do we do? I mean, what are the techniques or tactics that are going to be used there? Because what we do is have a lot of reports that say parents don't even come to parent-teacher meetings. Parents don't show up in the schools. What?
I mean, there are a lot of vehicles to really drive that point home. As my colleague Benjie Wimberly said today, we had the pleasure of sitting in on a committee here, and he and I are supportive of a proposal that we call our Responsible Fatherhood Initiative to start empowering our young men in our communities to begin to take responsibility. Research has shown over and over again that when we have fathers in the home, our children are actually doing better academically, both boys and girls. So it has to be a holistic approach. But when it comes to looking at education specifically, we can no longer walk away from any alternative, any idea that's going to advance our children forward. And I think what was talked about is willing to have a consortium of ideas to start throwing stuff out there to really get down to the bottom line that our children are testing at a certain level in our urban communities, and it's unacceptable, and we have to raise the bar. There is no option that is unavailable to raise that bar. And that's the point where I come from with respect to that.
Now, real quick.
About jobs.
real
Okay,
brief,
jobs.
'cause I got one
I
question.
think that another way of empowering families is that we don't have enough job training programs and we don't have enough jobs. And I think that we need to drill down in the Department of Labor, Force Development, identify all that federal money that's coming, all that money that's coming from different avenues, and see how it's being used, even the money for welfare. One of the ways you continue to keep people on welfare is that you just give them this as opposed to give them an opportunity to use that welfare and go to college, go to get a degree, get a certificate, get something, get a skill. We need to reinvest in training for our underskilled and underemployed families. And when you have a job and you feel good about yourself, then you are value added to your community and your family.
Act different.
And you act
You
different.
just act different. We don't have a lot of time left here. Real quick, good education has always been, at least in most of our history, a key to freedom. And not just to be free to roam, but free for economic opportunity and prosperity. Give us your brief thinking and thought about how important education is for our children. Just briefly, 30 seconds. We're going to wrap and give everybody 30 seconds.
Well, as a coach and dealing with young men all the time, I always equate a good education to, the real dream of hitting the lottery. Like you go to a lottery, you play a machine, and you're 1 in a million. But if you study hard, you do what you got to do, and say if you have a little bit of talent in athletics or music, or it may be biology, you can hit the lottery for $100,000 by going to college. So that's my equation to them, and that I've been drilling for years and years. That every time you do what you got to do, you follow the procedure, regardless of the obstacles that are in front of you, you too can win the lottery by using a pen and a pencil.
Thank you. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
In an increasingly globalized economy, education is essential to black survival.
Okay, amen. 30 seconds. Kevin Jenkins.
The only thing we have available in our toolkit to save our communities. Education is it. That's why having this urban discussion about education is going to be so key. So we can really get down to where we're going to be going in the future with our children. So education is it. That's it. Economic development, social development, human development. It covers it all. And we have to get mature about that discussion and focus on that in real time.
Troy, 30 seconds.
I can't add anything more than what you've heard. I couldn't add another word to what you heard. Education is a cornerstone to everything we have to do, and it's incumbent upon all of us, elected, unelected, just concerned citizens, to make that our priority.
Do our church need to be doing more? Church need to be doing more?
Everybody needs to be doing more. Every institution we have, from men's clubs, women's clubs, fraternities, sororities, churches, everybody needs to do more. We know what we want to accomplish. We got to figure out how to come together and accomplish it.
And community. I think the beauty parlor, the barber shop, the local businesses, everybody has to be involved in education. When they walk in that door, did you do your homework? When you get to the corner store, why are you out here this late? You know, so it's a whole village approach of raising our children, and we can't be scared.
And you do agree that the village takes the entire village.
It takes the entire village.
Listen, we're out of time. So I want to thank each of my guests for being here. Assemblywoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, Assemblyman Benjie Wimberly, Walter C. Farrell Jr., Assemblyman Troy Singleton, and Kevin Jenkins. Let's give them all a round of applause. Even with all the challenges and changes, we must keep focused on why education is so important. The children of New Jersey are our future, and we are obligated to give them every chance so they can succeed in life. With the right educational opportunities, that definitely can happen. There could be another African-American president, and the next time he or she just might be from New Jersey. It's a presidential election year, so please remember to vote. You can't complain if you don't vote. Your vote does count. From all of us here at the 30th Annual New Jersey Black Issues Convention, I'm Alfred Bundy. Thank you for watching this very special edition of Neutral Leaders.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. "7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.